Namaste. Thanks, Mr. President, for that kind introduction. I'm always reminded that if anyone summarizes your life's work in less than 1.5 minutes, you will all come looking out as a great achiever. And I guess I'm fortunately no exception to that rule. So those words are very humbling. But today I feel very honored to be here, and I've been asked to offer a few words on the occasion of India's 70th Independence Day anniversary, so which is the 71st Independence Day. So in the span of normal human life, 70 is a very significant number, and if we are lucky to survive that age, we would most probably start planning our Vanaprastha stage of life. At that age of 70, we don't have much to look forward to perhaps. We do pray and hope that our remaining days on this earth are spent in a peaceful manner, without much inconvenience to one's self and perhaps to those around us. We spend most of our time looking at the past, potentially entering into discussions with one's own self regarding what could have been, what should have been, and what happened. The lucky souls come to terms with the realization that not many things could be changed, and hopefully the day of judgment will not be too testing. The rest of us spend the remaining days in regret and repentance. However, when it comes to a nation-state's existence, 70 could be a very exciting time. It would have provided us enough time to enjoy the bliss of the newfound euphoria of independence, create monumental plans and blueprints for nation building, and steer the society towards a utopian model of self-reliance and inclusive growth. At 70, the nation should look back and make an honest assessment of what happened. Did we really leverage our independence into a sustainable and inclusive growth for most sections of society? Did we take advantage of the fruits of freedom by transforming the awareness of all segments of society by encouraging them to embrace the idea of a unified consciousness? Did we overcome the natural and historic feudalistic tendencies by trouncing divisive thoughts pertaining to regionalism, casteism, linguistic exclusivism, religious impertinence, socioeconomic immobilism, and cultural expressionism? The age of 70 in a nation's life is the most opportune moment to address these issues threadbare and learn key lessons from our collective experiences that should provide direction and guidance towards the next 70 years. We know that all newly independent nations go through severe growing pains, some more than others. Notwithstanding this discernible point, rather than go through the motions of self-flagellation due to imperfections, unattained expectations, and incomplete accomplishments, one must be careful to don their analytical hats and be willing to understand the context and circumstances in which the nation went through all these trials and tribulations. It is not helpful to blame the political classes, bureaucratic practices, and irreverent social strata for any kind of these deficiencies. Rather, it is my humble belief that by learning lessons from the past, we bring together a healthy mix of ideas forward that will lead our nation of origin towards a much better state of existence. Each of us in this room has a role to play. Each one of us has benefited tremendously, one way or another, from our motherland. How are we contributing to the story that is currently being written and will be expressed in the next 70 years? In effect, what is the true ideal of independence. It is in this context that I spent some time thinking about the current situation in India. As always, there are tremendous positives and negatives, numerous strengths and weaknesses, immense opportunities and existential threats, and a myriad ideas that could either undermine or bolster the next 70 years for our nation. This is not news. This is not a profound thought, but rather a mundane fact that each nation must confront. Coming from my manifest vantage point of being a business school occupant, I am pleased to provide a couple of open-ended thoughts regarding the nation's development agenda. For whatever it is worth, please feel free to take it with a pinch of salt or with a bushel of salt, if that's what you will. But I'm convinced that in order to blend the multifarious elements of our society, economic growth is very important. No surprise. However, what is the model of economic growth that is appropriate for India? Development has many dimensions. We know that economic growth is actually only one aspect. Nevertheless, accelerated economic growth is necessary. It is a necessary condition for achieving many other dimensions of development. Development must ensure equality of opportunities for all. However, and this is important, equality of opportunities does not necessarily guarantee equalities of incomes and equality of outcomes. There are some among us who are very good at converting opportunities into very high income as well as very, very high outcomes. And there are some who are unable to take advantage of those opportunities. So be that as it may, in a society as vast and diverse as India, we will be facing differences of outcomes, but there should still be equality of opportunities. Hence, it is very necessary to assure everyone at least a minimum level of living, along with equality, or rather that covers their basic needs. These basic needs, as we all know, will include access to services such as food, education, healthcare, and shelter. Without sacrificing the goals of development, the economy must remain efficient. It is only an efficient economy that can generate the surplus necessary to meet all these other goals. I have to stress, therefore, that economic development in the conventional sense of accelerating growth must go along with social development in a country such as India, wherein we try to secure the needs of everyone, at least at their basic level. The two, economic growth and social development, are not mutually exclusive. They actually, on the other hand, are mutually interacting, and they benefit each other. And therefore, these are the two legs, economic growth and social development, on which our nation, India, must walk. Any strategy of development which ignores any one of these two legs will only make the nation limp along. To achieve higher levels of human development in our country, we need a three-pronged approach comprising of higher economic growth, a higher proportion of expenditure, especially public expenditure, on social sectors, and efficient utilization of these fronts which are free from corruption. Growth and equity should not be posed as opposing considerations, and they must be weaved together to produce a coherent pattern of growth. Therein lies the challenge of development in India. One must also keep in mind that all of these socio-economic development ideas must be executed within an environmentally sustainable approach. That approach must be buried within the context of India rather than be imposed by outside nations and countries. I believe that India must focus not only on its immense GDP growth and its potential, where, by the way, it recently surpassed China, and today India is indeed, by fact and by statistics, the fastest growing economy in the world at 7.4%. But we must also consider our underwhelming situation in the area of Human Development Index, where today we are 97th in the world. The Human Development Index is a composite of life expectancy, education, and per capita income. The government, educational institutions, business sector, civil society, and the vast Indian diaspora are all responsible for shining the spotlight on various action plans and strategies on enhancing India's ascendant journey on the Human Development Index scale. From a business teacher's perspective, true independence for a nation such as India is achieved when it can proudly proclaim and exhibit a robust society which is healthy, educated, and prosperous. Today, on the occasion of India's 70th Independence Day anniversary, which is the 71st Independence Day, let us pledge and recommit ourselves and to offer our individual and collective energies towards guiding and sustaining India's upward trajectory in this comity of nations. Thank you again to the India Association of Nebraska for giving me this truly immense honor and opportunity to express myself on this blessed occasion. Vande Mataram, Jai Hind.
Up on stage, B.T. Ramakrishnan ji and Dr. Deepa Gangahar.